Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully I'm not too red. I look terribly red in that picture. Welcome in, guys. Let's have a look here. Super chat, all chat. Rob, how are you doing? Good to see you. How am I looking? A little bit low on the screen there. Just it's a bit better there. Oh, it's all finely balanced around here. So, how's everybody doing? Come on, get the chat going here. Graham, good to see you. How you doing, Graham? So, this evening I thought I would talk about the latest version of 2D6 Void and some of the little corrections and updates. Cryos, good to see you. Jeff, how are you doing? Oh, so it's a bit of a casual stream, not a hugely long stream this evening. I've had a bit of a hell of a week, to be honest. I've had a really bad stomach bug and I'm not over it yet, unfortunately, but I'm feeling a lot better. Sort of a reoccurring bug that I had a couple of weeks ago, and same thing again. I don't know why. Here we go. Is this working? This is working. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I've been a little bit quieter this week. Wasn't able to work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which is like the first time I think that's ever happened. So picking up a few emails, you know, a bit of admin stuff. Yes. Mysterious alien ailment that you can catch from the... Yeah, indeed. It felt that way. Oh, man. Hey, Mark. How you doing? I am going to be sending out this version tomorrow. I think this is 0.75. So I saw your message, Mark, but I was on the sofa. Hello, Nigel. Yeah, I didn't get back on the... I think there's something like 80 pages so far, something like that. This is obviously with... this is just level 1. So it's not... it's obviously not. It's not by no means complete, and you can see there is a Wiro binder on this, which I picked up the machine. I decided it's going to be easier for testing. I didn't really like using the tablet last week, so I thought, what can I do instead? Can't staple it; it's too thick now. I can get a binder and do it at home. Why not? I know Kevin would be proud of me. Rustic, how are you doing? A little bit of diluted apple cider vinegar helps with stomach bugs. Ooh. Sounds like a nice little tip. Yeah, I know. Oh man, it's just the bloody winter. So what I thought I'd do is go through this. I feel like now is an important moment because we've got we've had Mark and Jeff and Brendan do some really thorough, and Clive, some really thorough proofreading of this document, along with the testers. But the testers have been more focused on producing test levels, which is what I need. I can see Nigel. Thanks for a reminder to yes, exactly. But I mean, between David and you, Jeff, and Mark, we can remind me. I think kind of we'll get there in the end. But David was straight on it. Thank you, David. We've had Omar and his son testing it, which I thought was really cool. Nice to see the father-son combination. James, or Jim, the tabletop engineer, he has done a video on his channel, testing video, and some of the usual suspects like Vic, and some new guys, Vic and Matt, but Mike, and then new guys like Brendan and Baron Ken doing some testing. So it's been really interesting, and I'll probably, as we go along, I will highlight areas that people have brought up, and it's been a question of me having numerous rounds of going through emails and just focusing in on the different corrections that need to be made, and then one correction will come up and it'll be like or some comments that might culminate in something like didn't meet enough aliens, and I'll be like, okay, so that isn't a 5-minute fix, that could be potentially like an hour, because I'm having to look through all the tables and add in some aliens. It might be there's not enough containers to gather stuff, so I then have to add those in across. So it's kind of it's one of these things you just never realise how long it takes to make corrections and iterations. Oh, and we've got Linda here with her beautiful maps as well. So if I've missed your name off here and you've contributed some testing, then just drop me an email. I don't mind at all. It won't be a question of me thinking that you're arrogant for having your name put in the play testers. It's just, it deserves to be there. So think about it like that. So we're at version 7.5, and I feel like this is the most stable version that we've had so far. And some really key changes. John, how are you doing? John's been giving some great feedback as well. And yeah, I've kind of upped things. Hopefully the tables. Yes, changing a single word across multiple documents is it really is. And you don't want to overcorrect from a small sample size, so the more testing the better. Exactly. Don't get me wrong, as I'm playing it myself, or writing it, or putting the tables together, I'm thinking to myself, oh, there's not enough of that, there's not enough of this, and I've got those clocked in the back of my mind. So when someone's given me feedback for testing, what they don't necessarily realise is it's bringing out those points that I have already highlighted in my own mind. So I know when something feels like it needs to be corrected, but sometimes I let it go in and it needs to be tested. I've also got the longer picture, if you like. Hi Mike, how are you doing? Hope you're well. I'm still recovering from a really bad stomach bug I've had this week. It's just been absolutely crazy. So what I'll do is I will go through this. Hopefully this will be interesting. But I thought what this would do is it would just put a kind of a line, draw a line, because what we're going to see from here, this is the early stage being complete in a sense. So what we'll see from here is I've nearly finished the text for level 2. So Mark, Lars, I'll be sending that for you to proofread in the next couple of days, depending on how I'm feeling. And I will then we're then entering a phase where I think the versions will jump from 0.75 to 0.8 to signify a significant change and kind of stability of the version. So we'll jump from the 7s to the 8s, and then hopefully I then won't have to go back too much to the rules to change them. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. And then with each new level, obviously get a new set of tables and a new set of creatures and a couple more guns. So the gun level will increase slowly. I then won't have to sort of refer back to the rules so much to correct them when I'm doing this stuff, even though there will no doubt be new corrections. Baron, Ken, good to see you. Baron has been contributing some great stuff as well. Thank you, Baron. Yeah, I've been a bit slower this week. It's one of these things, isn't it? You run your own business and you're ill. There's no one there to cover you. You know, your business just stagnates for a few days, which is annoying. It does, Mark. Right. What have we got here? That's a suitable tool. This is better. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to try and highlight here is some of the little subtle things that I've added in based upon from that first iteration we had for our first core rules to how it has now become more of a complete document. And it's nice to be able to put it in the binder, because I refer to this a lot, obviously, as I'm designing the level, so it's really handy to have this. And there's not a lot of colour in this document either. I mean, the general theme is kind of black and white sci-fi type feel anyway, so I have added in a line here that certain information has been revealed about the computer systems, how they work to a certain extent, and that the atmosphere on the ship is breathable. And I felt like adding in a line that it turns out that a lot of biological forms need oxygen to breathe, but I didn't put that in. So I've just added in a little bit of additional narrative there, and there's not a lot of narrative. And I've had a few comments about people have asked me they want to feel like they know more about the Dark Hulk and its technology, like what's its warp engines, what's it powered by. And I think I've always had that. I always try and restrict what information is available to the player, because I kind of feel like, to a certain extent, it's the old. I was brought up. I originally studied film, and one of the things that they said to you is you know, show, don't tell. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of want that to be the theme for this. I want you'll discover things as you go along. You may not ever really know everything or the complete how the enemy ship works, but it will reveal secrets, and you can kind of fill the rest in with your imagination to a certain extent. And I've always feel like that. It keeps it more mysterious. You could add a lore. Yeah, exactly, says. Same with me. I'd rather that details are revealed as you go further down the levels. Exactly. I think the other end is more interesting. Thank you, guys. And you can add in your own narrative and make it your own, says Jeff. Exactly. And look, I've decided it's like at the beginning of each level, there will be a page, maybe except for level 1, where you get a little bit more information at the beginning of the page, a little bit of narrative. You're able to access the computers a bit more thoroughly as you go along, and you can find out more. And you do need to know certain things about the species that are on each level. So it gives it a little bit of context, and it's not completely random every time you encounter a new alien species. Because each alien species that you encounter, because each level has a core alien species, they've been assimilated into the ship by the AI to serve them in some particular way. The second level is the detention level. So you've got cells and kind of you've got one species, the shreve, who are kind of like a bird-like avian species, and they have been tasked with looking after this detention level. So that's going to bring with it its own narrative. You find out a bit about that as you enter it. Space Gaming Lab, how are you doing, my friend? Choir says explaining too much kills. Yeah, I think so. Kills the magic. So Space Gaming Lab. Thank you again for the playtest. I didn't touch it. Cold and flu got me. As you know, in England with this amazing weather, it's not easy to stay away from seasonal diseases. Luca here. Luca, how are you doing? Also, work and job hunting not so easy. But like, yeah, exactly. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? So there is going to be, so each level, as I say, has got a species. There's going to be the ancient species, which I haven't kind of fleshed out yet, but they have a kind of this image here is one of the alien artifacts, and that they're older and they come from the original species that built the ship, that the AI has assumed control of as they've all died off. So there's been some discussion about the special skill section. If level 2 is a detention level, will they also include the processing areas that makes the other creatures servants? There are processing levels. There are processing rooms. In fact, I think I wrote one today. As far as whether it makes the other creatures servants, it's not going to be phrased quite like that, Mark. But there will be indications of mind control, maybe, or implants. You can find your first biological enhancement on level 2, and then from there on, there's going to be more of those. So that's going to be an interesting angle to have in the game. Whether you become too enhanced and then join the computer AI and you've finished. We'll keep the mind open. Yeah. No, I can see you thinking, Mark. So my mind's still open about these special skills, but I think it gives a bit of an edge. And of course, people's interpretation of what a bounty hunter is, what police officers have as skills, it varies. So, skill checks. We talked about this last time, but this has been a big change, and we've had some good test results regarding the skill checks. So we now have a modifier, and I think we talked about this last time. There's a modifier in front of the skill check, so make a -3 coding check rather than just a coding check. So they're achievable, and when I was doing the last playtest, we could see that I passed most of my tests, even though they're like 6 or 7, so I was rolling high each time. I think that's going to be good. So on level 2, it's going to be -2 coding, then -1, but there'll be some easier ones, some harder ones thrown in. And your skill level will rise. And also in the next levels, there's opportunities to get additional marksmanship, additional coding skills. So points, that is. This, I think, is the best way to go find new things as you play. I mean, I've played a few characters in 2D6 Dungeon, and it was my last one I found my first rune, exactly. And it's meant to feel good when you find something rare. You know, you may go through 5 levels and not find a rune, but when you do find that rune on the 6th level, it's special. I think you've got to have that in the game, haven't you? I didn't even know they were in the game. Well, there you go, Nigel. Much better on the skill checks. I think I was about 50% exactly. And I can tinker with that. So a couple of people suggested the skill check. So thank you guys for bringing that out. But I mean, it was the biggest error, if you like, in the design of the game. But that has now been corrected. Thank you. And you still have to remember you can only do the skill check once unless otherwise stated. So that was a big change, the skill element to it. So another discussion point that has come up. Just a suggestion, if you're thinking of starting a new character at some stage, how about enigmatic bounty hunter? Skewerell. Yeah. Skewerell. And that comes from the squirrel whisperer that is Mark. Been finding out about Mark's squirrel adventures. Something that's been coming up is the starting equipment. So, interestingly, what I've been finding is, given the setup and the contrivances of being a lone adventurer, solo adventurer on an alien ship, you need equipment. More so than, say, you are an adventurer down in a dungeon. So I've included certain things in this. Now we know about StimDock, the sample scanner, the hacking console, your HC5. I've also added a wrench, 2 plastic pockets, so containers that can carry residues, for example. Is that ink? No, that's correct. Matt, good to see you. And these items, starting equipment, cannot be lost and does not count when you're checking to see what random item you may have damaged. Neither do they count as large. So, and I've had to squeeze that in. We're very tight on this page. Reduce this image down. It may be that this page text shifts over to here to fill this space down here. But at this stage, it's little things like that you kind of tinker around with, and it becomes a bit of a head spin. You know, so I am got a bit of space down there. But people have been asking, when I check for items, does my starting equipment get damaged or lost? It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. Don't worry about it. It's there. It's stuff that you use as you go through. Yes. That's a table. Hang on a minute. Right. Got to write the RFUT1 table, so that hasn't been added to this, but that's fine because we won't have got to that stage yet. All right. Okay. Now you may notice there are some holes in here. That's rookie error there. I've punched the wrong side of that paper as I've testing my new binding machine. Yep, we added in the ladder situation, so we now have ladders. It might be interesting if your HC5 breaks, yeah. It might you'd be completely screwed, basically. So we've got new ladders. That's an important addition. And there are ladders. Oh yeah, we do need an example of the boss, which will be added in. Now we have, for level 2, we have a boss room, which so I can then take a picture and put that in. I didn't have that for this space before, hence a bit of space here as well. Page 21. There was a question about exits on large rooms. They're on the table, and for corridors, they are all archways. It just keeps it simple. It's like a base. If we wanted to expand that out and make that more complex, we could have an additional rule that says you could roll for corridors, for doors if you want, to make it sometimes harder. There are also no bio-coded doors on the first level, because there's no species which has been assigned to that level, really. So there's no limb to drag through to the biocoder. Nothing different here. Here we go. Entrance to the level. So with the character sheets, could we have a small section to store the different gases that we find? Now, John, I thought about this one after you left the comment in your email. And if people are leaving me emails, I tried to answer all the comments, but sometimes I just miss a couple. I kind of thought to myself, do we want that extra section? But then I also thought to myself, if you end up losing a small item, you want them all together. And I consider the gas cartridges to be those small items that you could lose. So they just fall into that box, which is small items. I know. And so when you're randomly selecting one, it could include one of those cartridges. And that is my thinking at the moment. It may change on that one, John. Hear what you're saying over there in sunny Brisbane. You lucky sod. Right. But thanks for... all the testing has been really useful, and I just really appreciate everybody's work on that. So thank you. So for the next level, we've got a slightly different experience when it comes to 2D6 Universe. When you go down a level, now you go down through the square that you finish on with the level before. So, and when you do, you add in your ladder. It is raining at the moment. What a shame. Maybe split the small item area into subsections. Yeah, but then you can't randomize all your small items. And I kind of like it there, just a big sprawl like it would be in your backpack. I feel like sometimes your character sheet can be an expression of how a backpack works. You know, like the space. I like it some games where you say, you can have all the items you can write in that small section. That's your backpack. And that's how I kind of feel about the small items. May change. So when you draw the ladder, and the ladder could sort of turn a bit or twist or kind of change an angle, and you face the ladder exit square into the largest area of the level. And the reason why I say that is because basically, if you come down the level and the ladder you came down is facing, it potentially could face the wall. You face the room that direction, it's just going to hit the wall immediately. So the aim is you face the ladder into the most open space. You're still coming down a ladder, it's still one square, but it's kind of that. We start 2026 with rain in the UK, and it's rainy every day since. It damn well is, and I hate it with a passion. Mark says some items might be more vulnerable than others. They may be, but still the random nature of damage, it could be either way. I don't know. I feel like we are in a rainforest here in Hartford. Well, I'm not that far from you, and it has just constantly rained. It's so depressing. I think we had a bit of sun one day. I think we've got a bit of sun tomorrow or Saturday. What day is it today? Yeah, tomorrow or Saturday. But for payment for a bit of sun, we're going down to like -1, which is annoying. So it's the ladder thing. The ladder thing. We got snow. Nige. Snow. Right, and then the biological enhancement. So that's ladders. And there's a little thing here. Levels are also connected by a main elevator shaft, but you do not have to access it. But you do not have access to this. Draw the ladder directly below the previous. There you go. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that. Northampton has been surprisingly dry the last 2 days, considering what the weather app was supposed to be predicting. You must be under a bit of a... You must be avoiding those clouds as they're shooting by. So, yep, the ladders. Biological enhancements. It's a nice little thing, hopefully. You find it a nice little thing. You're going to start seeing those turn up as we get down to levels 2 and 3. Some of them you can choose, but some of them are invasive, if you like. They just are drawn to flesh. So that's in there. This is your stim dock down here where you make your stims. Got your gases there. You get XP for fixing things, don't forget that. Same as before. Right, identifying edible foods. I've made it a header. I think I did it like... I think I did it as an alternative. How about a fireman's pole? Ooh. Let's move into Northampton. Have you been to Northampton? It's a lovely place, Northampton. Right, so it's still been grey. It seems the more tech they use to try and forecast, the more they get it wrong. We were supposed to have 98% thundery showers yesterday at one time, but yes, sun was out. No, it's not anymore, says Mark. I don't know what that was to. Any case, so foods. When you need 3 types of food, as has always been the case with the rations, to make up a ration. And when you find something that could be edible, you have to roll to see. You roll D6, 1 or 2. The organic matter is inedible and cannot be used. You can keep it for whatever reason, I don't know. You can discard it, but that's the check to see if the food is edible. And it's one of these things that I don't want to have to write into the tables. As you can see, the tables are tight. I have to abbreviate as it is sometimes. And I don't want to be... You find some bright pink leaves. Roll a d6, 1 to 2, the plant is edible. I just wanted to say, I I just don't even need you to say anything. You can make the edible check yourself. To leave it, you find some pink leaves, or check to see if edible. I could put something like that. I think I have done on certain occasions, but you can kind of use your own initiative with that one. One of the things that I've tried to incorporate with this, maybe a bit more than the original dungeon, is that I don't want to have to explain to people in the tables text to make tests if it's apparent that you have to do it, because I'm trying to squeeze as much narrative and description into the tables without having to kind of repeat myself when it comes to the types of check. It should be sort of automatic based upon the rules. Hopefully that's clear. Never been, but for sure better than London right now, or Birmingham, for instance. At least the rubbish gets collected. That's true. Yeah, Northampton is pretty much. I mean, used to be the capital of the county, Northamptonshire. So what it took its name from. So it's got some majestic old buildings in the town centre. Right, so let's move on to ranged combat. So ranged combat, as we knew it would be, because it's the biggest new thing. It did used to be a nice place, but just no more. Not going to say anything to that. So, we have a deflection roll now. So roll a d6, and if it matches any of their interrupts, primary or secondaries, then they deflect it. 2 rolls for combat. Roll to see if you hit. If you do, roll a deflection roll. That's what it is. I had to bring it in because there were certain situations arising where you'd do a good hit, and it would mean that you'd have a low chance, a high chance of deflection or something. I can't quite remember what it was. What do you think about a player reference? I was struggling sometimes to find stuff in the book, especially remembering to assign my character XP from other stuff than killing enemies. Oh man, I'm just trying to keep hydrated at the moment. Thanks for asking. It's just water. Wicked stomach bug. I think I'm still dehydrated. 4 days of going straight through me. So deflection roll, key. Okay. Rolling doubles is still a thing. Weapon settings. So now, largely because of the inspiration of Linda. Yeah, I know. It was because if you roll... Right, Jeff's nailed this for me. Thank you, Jeff. It was because if you roll low to hit, only armour that had low dice sets had a decent chance of deflecting the shot. Exactly. Yes. So it mitigated certain armour types from being able to deflect ranged weapons, which I didn't like. Jeff pointed that out to me and I was like, ooh, it was all so neat, but now that really highlights an issue. So then I thought, right, we'll have a second roll. And in fact, having that second roll might give me options later on when I'm looking at different additions for levels, like in this level there are no deflection rolls or something like that. Because of the static particles in the air, because of the proto-molecules floating in the air. Name what reference? What's the reference? The new method seems fine. It's only one extra roll. Exactly. Thank you, Mark. David's here. Good to see you. Like another PDF, a shorter version that summarises some of the main things in the game. I had a look on the walk-in as an example, and the designer provided a player reference sheet. Yes, there. Yes, Space Gaming Lab. Yes, there is, and in fact, I do that at the end. So you're kind of jumping ahead, but yes. In the end, in 2D6 Dungeon, if you turn to the back, you'll see there's a whole bunch of crib sheets you print out and use. There's also the bookmark. Now this is the dungeon bookmark, but there'll be one of these for 2D6 Void that people have added to their pledges. And you know, like cartoons, pick a lock, precision checks, make a loud noise, call for favour, stuff like that. It's all kind of quick in there and find you'll get that. Good to see you, David. Yes, unless you make armor that has high dice sets, you're naturally less effective than range fire, but better against melee. But that would be too complicated. Yes. Haha, Matt. Thank you. The Expanse. Yes. Some weapons might get deflection, others not, depending on any special level of weapon. Exactly. We're going to have... So this level 2, currently there are 2 additional weapons which are added to the setup that you can find. There may be 4 on the next level, 3 on the level after that, 2 on that level after that. It depends on how I feel. How I feel it goes. How I feel, what availability there is. So we've also got settings. So on this section here, settings, single, you can get burst, -2 marksmanship, +5 damage, and then there will be automatic, which doesn't fit in yet to there, does it? I may have to extend that down maybe to there so that the automatic can fit in, which is really annoying. Little things like that you're not prepared for necessarily. David, don't worry, my friend. Don't worry at this point. I'm going to be going to do this 0.75. I've been sort of playing around with it today. I haven't released this one yet, but I will release it over the next couple of days. I'll send you a copy, and everybody will have it. And this is kind of solid. There's just 1 or 2 little things I want to add in now. In fact, yeah, it may not be quite yet. Anyway, but Mark suggested something really useful. If you're facing multiple targets, using burst means you use a third of your ammo. Oh yes. For both burst and automatic, you can spread the resulting damage over multiple targets for 1 attack roll. So if you do, say you've got a weapon which has -3 marksmanship plus 20 damage, because it's on automatic, and you would just fire, you spray all your ammo, you can cover, you can say you do 26 damage, and you've got 2 targets, you can give them 13 each if you want to, or just 5 to one and 20 to another, so you don't waste, in a sense, any damage points as well. So that's a little new addition to this version. Very useful. So another big thing as well is you now get to tick a. I haven't really come up with a name for this, but you gain. You can tick 1 box towards gaining 1 marksmanship point for every time you hit rather than kill an enemy in ranged combat. So if you're fighting and you on a level you've had an opportunity to fire 5 times or 6 times, say you hit 5 times, you will be able to tick 5 boxes towards gaining a marksmanship point. Okay, and looking at the frequency, yeah, I don't want to use XP. It's going to be something like marksmanship progress box or something like that. Don't want to progress box. I'll probably add that in. I've got a little bit of space here, and you can only count 1 successful shot per creature per combat. So if you're facing 2 creatures, you could get 2 progress boxes ticked, and then you can gain that 1 marksmanship point. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's not much difference from 7.4 to 7.5. In fact, any kind of testing on 7.4 is still completely valid for this version. There's very little changes because this marksmanship experience progress box was in at 7.4. So I feel pretty good. And anyway, this just gives a sense of how often you're hitting. There are going to be situations, I think, where, because you can't use range combat when you're up against the hull of the ship. So yeah, I can't use another word like accuracy, unfortunately, just because it almost implies like another skill. It will just be marksmanship progress boxes, probably, just to keep it boring, I'm afraid, just so that I just have visions of people asking me, saying to me, how much accuracy do I have? I can just see it now. I can hear the emails ringing in my ears. So it will be marksmanship progress boxes. Boring, I know, but that's what it probably will be, something like that. It's like one of these decisions where you're trying to mitigate confusion. Not that necessarily all confusion is bad, but like liberate one prisoner. That has generated a lot of chat over the years since we released Dungeon. Which is quite good for hits, I'll be honest with you, because it looks like people are discussing. They are discussing things. All right, so interrupts. All the combat stays nicely the same. Works really nicely. Armor deflection. Yes, we've talked about that. So that feels positive. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. Some armor types might have better defense against specific attack types. I agree, Mark, and there will definitely be weapons that have special against particular types of armor that you see, and then there'll be situations I can write into the narrative that will work around that. This, of course, is very much the basis, and then we can bring in some more complications as we go. I was just saying, Linda, actually, if we go back to ranged combat just quickly here. So I don't know whether you remember, but we were discussing ranged combat before, and I was getting too complicated, and you said something along the lines of just up the damage, which is what we did. But we've added an additional thing to it, so you can spread the damage now across multiple targets as well. So, which is nice because it kind of saves having to roll for both You know, it just makes it nice, effective, quick, damage done. Okay. Yes, Linda, you got a fan there. Haven't really spent any time looking at grenades. So interestingly, all of you guys who have tested, and if you want to test, by the way, and you haven't already, yeah, I think so. And if you haven't and you want to test, my email's on the screen there. It's toby@drgames.co.uk, and just email me and I'll send you a link to the test document, this one here. And all those that have tested, let me know if anybody has put together a grenade, an improvised grenade. So 4 types. I'd be interested to know whether anyone has managed to do that on the first level. First level is pretty raw. Second level, you get a bit wiser. You reflect on what items you've got and what can you make, because there's a certain need for it. Talaha! You missed everything. Good to see you, my friend. Yes. See if you can have a little look into that. Be interesting to get some stats over that. I haven't done one yet. But I haven't come across any grenade components, which is what you need to create grenades. Increasing difficulty, using the camo tent. Haven't done that myself yet. And there are the rules. Now, one thing that I have done is no, not enough material to be found yet, says Jeff. Am I gnome artificer? Did almost die to lava, so great day all around. Oh man, need to get a roleplay group together. So now it's 17 by 28 rather than 25, so we've got that much more, which potentially could be two rooms or more space for a larger room. And it was as a result of the feedback, you know, as in the number of items people found, the number of XP that people had come the end of level 1. I thought to myself, we need a few more encounters here just to up this, and so we've increased the size of the map. There. Yeah, and over the last few updates, these were in 7.4. We've got the HP baseline, we've got the ammo boxes here, we've got credits. I don't know why I didn't put a section in for that before. Special skill, ranged kills. Ranged kills needs changing. There's always something. So this here shouldn't be ranged kills anymore, because it's just when you hit. Ranged hits. That's what that would be. It just changed kills to hits. That'll fit in there nicely without me having to do too much to design as well. We've also got the biological enhancements with the little skull in there. If you get 7, your 7 one, you join the AI. And you get a section for your access codes, which you find, and they reveal things and help you do certain parts of the... Then you've got your side quests. I think there's something like 4 or 5 side quests in the first 2 levels. And there you go. And then you've got the tables matrix with the tables in here. So with some of these tables, I have added in stuff. So we have got, say for example, this item list will grow over here. So we've got hidden compartments. There's additional stuff to be found here. 2 plastic resealable wallets. For example, you've got additional XP bonuses for establishing what type of machine things were. Metal lockers, additional stuff in these metal lockers. More items. They're trying to put more items into the game so that the crafting elements of it are more utilized. Don't forget, if you spot an error in the tables, it's the hardest area to spot errors in. But if you do, make a note and let me know. The stims table, I hadn't added the ingredients before. They're what you need to make those stims. We do have a slight... it's alright. There's more stuff here, containers in the utility items, and then we've got the level 1 tables here. I know they look very dense on those screens there. I've added in extra stuff, so hopefully there are more items, more things to find and make, and they're your creatures on. I would say that there aren't as many aliens as there are creatures as there were in the dungeon. When I look back on making 2d6 Dungeon, my enthusiasm for making monsters for the first level was just off the scale. And I think it's because I felt like we need so many different types of monster, of creature for that dungeon. The reality of it is, a lot of them have never been met by people. So although we've got a nice number of aliens for this first level, so not a short number, but I haven't gone overboard. And with this approach, I think we're still going to have the same number of monsters, aliens, as because the nature of the dungeon is slightly different than is the Dark Hulk. So each level is going to have its own aliens. So a kind of set of creatures like this. So I feel quite pleased with the level and the repetition, if there is much at all when you're fighting. Yes, more monsters does. Yeah, 15 monsters so far. I think that there is a certain... With the dungeon, you do have a certain repetition. You have guards of varying types, dogs of varying types. You know, I'm trying my hardest to put as many as I can in, but I'm trying to think logically about the narrative of the Dark Hulk as well. So I feel pretty confident at the moment. It's not to say there won't be more going. We will see. Someone has commented that they think the engorged Gar, they may be in the chat, I don't know, is too cute to be an alien. I would say this is very deceptive. And in fact, they are very, very kind of radioactive and disgusting. And they do explode with a mishap or with a prime. So keep an eye out. They're not so cute after all. The engorged Gars, okay? There we go. We worked hard to get to this stage. We have a rule book, a good set of creature cards. We think it's about 100 creatures in the last game. if we had 15 creatures per level for this, it'd be 150 creatures. So we're well on target to have a really nice selection of creatures, which is fantastic. So really, really positive. I'm feeling very, very good about the whole thing. And when I sit down to write it, and I write every day on it, I'm enjoying the challenge of bringing narrative to each level, and hopefully that comes across. You know, awesome stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I know it's only a short stream. I usually go a bit longer. So that's an hour. And we've had a good discussion. You can kind of see where I am. Could put a link to the binding tools you used. And is it any good? I've only used it once. Here's my link. Okay. There, my link. Make Easy. It's a £40 binding machine with teeth and this big lever thing. Got it on Amazon. Make Easy. I mean, I can't recommend it yet. I just dropped the whole. I've just dropped all the little hole punch things all over the floor down here. Fantastic. Who asked me that? Nigel. The Mogwai are cute too until they become exactly. Yeah. And you know, with aliens, you just don't know what you're looking at, really, do you? Yes, of course, the Meep from Doctor Who. Ah, thanks, David. You're okay, Nigel. That's funny. Baron's laughing. We have one at work, and one knows how to use it. Awesome. I think they're pretty generic things. Oh, thanks, Matt. Yeah. Smashing the thumbs up would be much appreciated, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. So I will be back next week with playtesting. Definitely of level 1. It will be more playtesting. I want to get a stream in with Fighting Fantasy as well. So to carry on with the Scorpion Swamp, and because we were doing well in that one, which was a change, and yeah, it's all coming on really nicely. Really am focused down on this at the moment, so I haven't done anything really on the Wild West Marshal, but I'm going to find some time for that. And I'm kind of thinking about how I might launch that, because if I just launch it into the ether, it might not do as well as we want. So I can't really kickstart it, because Kickstarter is really for the 2D6 universe at the moment. And we might look at some other means. Maybe we'll do some kind of special launch at UK Games Expo. We'll see. Anyway, guys, you are fantastic. Thank you for all the lovely comments, all the awesome testing. If you want to get involved with the testing, let me know. Feedback, things like XP, items you found, errors in the text, would be fantastic. Mark, Jeff, David, guys, I'm going to send out some new text to check soon. Level 2 rooms, and maybe some tables along with that. You're awesome. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys very soon. I will be on better form next week. Take care.